Coronation Street Teases drama-filled week, April 21–25. Viewers can expect high tension and emotional confrontations on Coronation Street next week as secrets and showdowns take center stage. Todd and Theo find themselves increasingly entangled in a web of deceit, while Dylan stands his ground against Brody. Meanwhile, Lauren faces an emotionally charged reunion, and David is left reeling by an unexpected and unsettling twist. 1. Trouble brews as Danielle misreads the signs. Next week's drama takes a turn for the worse as Danielle, the wife of newcomer Theo, leaps to yet another mistaken conclusion, this time pointing the finger at Sarah. With Todd already navigating the emotional complexity of his secret connection to Theo, Danielle's assumptions only add fuel to the fire. Todd was caught off guard when Theo arrived at the funeral home, not just with his wife Danielle, but also with his teenage children, Miles and Millie. The sight only deepened Todd's emotional investment in Theo. Although Theo remains married, Todd has agreed to patiently wait as he processes the situation and decides when to come clean to his family. In a bid to throw Danielle off the scent, Todd pretended to be romantically involved with Sarah. The charade continued when Danielle and Theo unexpectedly encountered them sharing drinks at the bistro. To keep the illusion alive and to provoke a reaction from Theo, Todd even went so far as to kiss Sarah in front of them. Things escalate when Danielle spots Sarah getting close to her real romantic interest, Kit. Convinced she's caught Sarah cheating on Todd, Danielle promptly reports the incident to George. Amused by the misunderstanding, George corrects her. Not only are Todd and Sarah not a couple, but Todd is also gay. Realizing she's been misled but still unaware of the truth, Danielle becomes increasingly suspicious. Her doubts are confirmed in her mind when she later sees Sarah comforting a visibly distressed Theo. Jumping to conclusions once more, Danielle confronts Sarah and Todd at the Rovers, accusing Sarah of having an affair with Theo. The question remains, how will Sarah talk her way out of this without exposing everything? In the wake of Danielle's explosive accusation, an emotional Theo confronts Todd, blaming him for tearing his family apart and urging him to make amends. Danielle, still adamant that her husband is having an affair with Sarah, lashes out once more when she spots Sarah at Roy's Rolls, demanding answers about Theo's whereabouts. Frustrated at being wrongly accused, Sarah fires back, suggesting Danielle redirect her anger towards Todd instead. Back at the factory, Theo, having completed his work, begins packing up and tells Todd it's best they keep their distance moving forward. But with tensions running high, that may prove more difficult than anticipated, especially as Danielle makes her way into the factory, unaware of what she might walk in on. 3. Dylan fights back. Meanwhile, the Michaelis family continue to cause havoc both on and off the street, with the recent revelation that STC inmate Brody, who has been causing hassle for Dylan and his dad Sean, is in fact the son of new neighbors Mick and Lou. Mick brutally attacked Sean last week, after overhearing his plans to report Brody to the STC staff for threatening Dylan, and forced Gemma into giving him an alibi. Terrified of getting on the wrong side of Mick and Lou, Gemma backed up Mick's claims that he had been with her, and was later left feeling guilty when she realized she was protecting Sean's attacker. Next week, Mick doubles down on his threats, warning Sean that if he or Dylan cause any more issues for Brody, then there will be further consequences. However, in the STC, Brody goads Dylan as he starts making unsavory remarks about Sean. As Brody goes too far, Dylan flies into a rage and attacks Brody, punching him to the floor and giving him a kicking. Has Dylan just made things 10 times worse, both himself and his dad? Gemma later finds herself in a further predicament when she's invited to join Mick and Lou for tea. Having been witness to Mick's temper in the pub, Jenny warns Gemma that she should steer clear. When Lou later confirms with Gemma what time she wants her to come over, Sean overhears and is furious, accusing Gemma of siding with the enemy. 4. Lauren has a tense reunion. Elsewhere, Lauren is pleased to learn that baby Frankie is doing well following his bone marrow transplant, and it won't be long before he's allowed to come home. A nurse then proceeds to hand Lauren a parcel that's been delivered for Frankie, and as Lauren spots the prison stamp on it, her blood runs cold. Later, Lauren pays a visit to the prison and comes face to face with her father Reese, who is currently serving a sentence for a whole string of crimes related to his and Griff's far-right activist group. What does Reese want, and how will it affect Lauren? 5. Betsy and Lauren go on a joyride. Over at 15A, Betsy is still struggling to come to terms with her injuries after being accidentally shot by Mum Lisa. Betsy had been in the ginnel when Lisa had been in a struggle with escaped convict Rob Donovan at number 1. As Lisa fired her gun during the altercation, the stray bullet had gone out of the window and hit Betsy in the shoulder, causing nerve damage which has left her with no feeling in her left arm. Next week, Betsy rails at both Tracy and Carla for being jointly responsible for endangering her life, but storms out as Lisa tries to calm her down. Betsy soon spots an opportunity to take some revenge on Tracy, and Lauren discovers her tearing apart the contents of the florist van. As Lauren tries to intervene, Tracy emerges from the shop, prompting a panicked Lauren to jump into the front of the van with Betsy and drive off. It doesn't go well, and a short while later at the precinct, the pair inspect the wrecked van. Panicked, Lauren confesses she doesn't even have a license. Will they be able to bluff their way out of this mess? 6. Dom woos Jenny. At the Rovers, Daisy and Christina's plan to fleece Jenny step up a gear when the fictional Dom that they're catfishing Jenny with turns up in the flesh. As Jenny lights up at Dom's arrival, Daisy is surprised by the sudden development. Christina quietly reassures her that it's all unfolding exactly as planned. Later, Dom casually mentions to Jenny that he's offloading his company, promising that anyone who buys in now will see their investment double within days. Intrigued, Jenny listens intently, completely oblivious to the scheme Christina and Daisy are orchestrating behind the scenes. Christina and Daisy can barely contain their excitement when Jenny reveals she's going to go ahead and put her cash into Dom's company. Confident that their payout is just around the corner, Daisy tells Daniel that an aunt has unexpectedly gifted her some money. She suggests they use it to make a clean break and build a new life away from Weatherfield. But is Daniel ready to walk away from the street with her? Later in the week, at the Rovers, Daisy and Christina are caught off guard when they discover Jenny spent the night with Dom. Jenny insists nothing happened, they simply talked all night, and admits she's really starting to like him. Later, at the hotel for a couple's massage with Daisy, Daniel is stunned to see Christina and Dom together. Is their carefully crafted plan about to unravel? 7. Brian opens his heart to Julie. Over at number 11, with her loved ones having rounded up some donations for a bucket list fund, a grateful Julie decides that she'd like to spend the cash on a trip to the Lake District. While at the cafe, Julie's clearly struggling with a lot of pain, having cared for late wife Haley through her own cancer battle. Roy offers Julie a heated wheat bag, mentioning how much comfort Haley used to get from them. Julie unexpectedly bursts into tears. Later, Brian opens up to Roy, admitting he is still completely in love with Julie. Roy gently encourages him to be honest with her. There's disappointment when the family later learn that the minibus has broken down and their trip to the lakes is cancelled. But Julie assures them that she's fine to just spend the day at home with her family and friends. Despite George's warning to proceed with care, Brian throws caution to the wind and professes his love to Julie, vowing to stand by her side for everything that lies ahead. But how will she react? 8. Is George enough for Eileen? Eileen is particularly irritated when she learns that George had advised Brian against telling Julie how he felt, accusing him of attempting to derail what might have been her sister's final chance at a happy ending. Frustrated, Eileen tells George he can spend the night on the sofa. Later in the week, uncertain about where things stand in her relationship with George, Eileen confides in Julie. Julie gently advises her not to compromise, reminding her that she deserves someone who truly lights her up inside, not just settle for second best. Will Eileen take her words to heart? 9. Dee finds closure. Elsewhere, Dee is still fuming after learning that an investigation into her treatment at Weatherfield General has found there's no case to answer for. Dee Dee had felt her concerns whilst giving birth to daughter Layla had not been taken seriously, with a delay in treating her for a postpartum hemorrhage having led to her being subjected to an emergency hysterectomy. Dee Dee had made a complaint against midwife Zoe, who she felt had treated her differently due to the color of her skin, whilst kindly nurse Wes, who had also been present during her time in hospital, had asked Dee Dee to think twice about her complaint. She was furious to later realize that he was Zoe's brother. Next week, Zoe and Wes make a surprise visit to Dee Dee's flat in the wake of the complaint being dismissed, apologetic for what Dee Dee has been through. As she later reports to Aaliyah, Dee Dee feels that their conversation was a productive one. Wes and Zoe have committed to advocating for enhanced training centered on the experiences of Black mothers. Feeling optimistic with some sense of closure, Dee Dee announces she's ready to get back to work. 10. Debbie fears she's harmed Layla. Meanwhile, baby Layla is currently in the care of Dee Dee's uncle Ronnie and his partner Debbie. The planned adoption by Dee Dee's brother James having fallen through for the moment, after he had to rush back to the U.S. when partner Danny was involved in a car accident. Unbeknownst to Ronnie, however, a number of worrying incidents have led to devastated Debbie being told that she could be suffering from young-onset dementia, and is currently undergoing tests to confirm either way. Debbie is on babysitting duty when she notices the little one seems feverish. Concerned, she tells Roy she's heading to the doctor's. Dee Dee, who happens to be in the cafe at the time, is also worried and insists on tagging along, with Layla later taken to the hospital. The doctors run some checks and manage to stabilize her temperature. But Debbie then spots that the formula she has been giving to Layla was meant for older babies 3 to 6 months and is consumed with guilt, fearing she's to blame. 11. David has a nasty surprise. Also next week, David and Shona are in for a shock when they return from visiting Gail in France, letting themselves into Sarah's flat, where they're currently living after the Platt house went up in flames earlier this year. They're confronted by the sight of Kit coming out of the bathroom wearing nothing but a towel. David's fuming that his sister has managed to get herself involved with his arch-nemesis, with Kit having recently slept with Shona, and Rose with Sarah over her appalling taste in men. But with Sarah smitten with her latest love interest, will David be able to put up with his presence around the flat? Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye and see you again.